Hi everyone, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's the breakdown. I'm the High Heel Gamer, aka Catherine, or Catherine, aka the High Heel Gamer, however you want it. And today I'm super excited because I am joined by the one and only Jean E. Willoughby II. Hi, Jean.
How's it
I'm like
going?
super excited. I've been waiting for this since we decided, because I'm like, yay, it's a new book. So we're here at Jean's book signing because he released a new book. You want to tell us a little bit about your new
Yes.
book?
The new book is a comic called The Last Age, Chapter 1. I decided to do a 5-part comic book series in chapters. The Last Age is about the daughter of a superhero king who has learned how and taught herself how to use genetics to create her own superheroes. And it's about her journey to become a superhero herself. So there's going to be some twists and some turns, and this first chapter really gets you into the world and really introduces you to her and what her life is like, really before that journey gets going.
So how did you come about this? Was it like a dream, or you were just reading something and got inspired by that?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have probably 20 or so notebooks I've been keeping since college, and those notebooks are full of story ideas. I've been writing these characters really for the last 20 years, just jotting down notes and world building and all those things, and not really knowing that's what I was doing. But this is the main story that I've always wanted to tell. Okay. And so now I'm getting ready to do it, and it's really good because I have like all of this information to really draw from, and all of these characters and worlds and planets and things like that I can really pull and use for this story, because I've been doing it for such a long time.
Now, you're also the artist as well as the writer of this comic. Does that become difficult to actually try to do both, or is it somewhat easy? Does it flow well?
The only difficult part is coming up with a workflow for me, because this was the first time I tried to do that. I usually do writing and that's it, or drawing and that's it. Because with the Sunstroms, I did a book, a prose novel, and wrote it all. And then when the book was done, I did the cover and all of the art prints. Okay. And so it was always a separate process. With The Last Age, it's all integrated. And so now what I have to do is come up with a workflow. And I really learned a lot of things going through it, penciling and inking, and I do a lot of digital. And so learning how to letter my own pages and those types of things. And so it was really a learning process as I went through it, but I enjoyed it because I got to see some sides of making comics that you hear about, but you don't always get a chance to have your hands on.
Yeah. So you're very open, because I follow you on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So you're very open about your process, and you let people know where you are on your process. Sometimes you show a little rough draft of your artwork. Right. Does that feel somewhat cathartic, or is it just like you're trying to inspire people, or you're just trying to keep your fans up in the loop?
A little bit of all three. I like to let people know where I am, so that they can see when I tell somebody a book is coming out. I like to kind of follow through, and I want people to see, hey, it's getting done. At the same time, it helps me mentally to be able to see, hey, I did something today. I got something done today, and so I like that part of it as well. And so that's why, I post a lot of things, because it keeps me motivated when I can go through my page and say, okay, well, last week I was back here, now I'm here.
That's true. Yeah. And to a certain degree, it keeps you kind of accountable too, because it's like, hey guys, I am really working on this. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna lie to you, like when you put those things up, I'm like, all right, how many more days till it's done? Like, how soon can I get this? Because this is my personal copy of the Sunstroms. I loved this book. So tell people a little bit about the Sunstroms, which is your first novel, right? Okay.
The Sunstroms is about a superhero family that lose both parents. The oldest son, named Sam Sunstrom, he's forced to come home, get his siblings together. They form a team to take over where mom and dad left off. What they don't realize is about to happen to them is their parents' enemies are about to become their enemies. And so everything gets rolling from there, and their lives get a lot more dangerous than they started out to be.
Yeah, that's it. So is that part of your college stuff too?
No, the world is. Because the
Okay.
world that the Sunstroms are in was part of what I created a long time ago.
Okay.
I got to about 2012 and 2013 and started trying to figure out, okay, what can I really write as a story that would get people into the world? And I've always wanted to do like something with science heroes, like the Herculoids and, you know, and those type of characters. How you doing?
Good.
And once I got that in my head, I said, okay, I want to do a family, because I like the way the Ninja Turtles were were brothers, and I have a brother, and I thought it would be interesting to see how that dynamic would work. And so the Sunstroms kind of grew out of that, and I felt like that would be a good way to get people into the world itself.
Okay, so you said, so was the writing started in college, or have you been writing before college and you just decided to jot it all down?
If I'm honest, you start writing when you're a kid and you don't realize it. So every time you pull out those action figures and start making up stuff, you're coming up with stories. And I've been doing that since I was 5 or 6 years old.
Right.
And so getting into college, I had a professor that really told me, hey, you're good at this. You need to keep doing it. And that really sparked everything, because at one point I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so having that professor really sit me down and say, what you're actually doing here is a skill and you're good at it, you know, that really propelled me to the next thing.
Okay. So did the writing and the art come, which one came first, the chicken or the egg? The writing or the art, or was it kind of like a both?
Probably both, because I've never really been interested in just drawing stuff that didn't have a story behind it. Every time I drew something, it was like, you know, this is a story. These characters are about something, and there's something happening to them, or they are doing something, you know.
So with your writing and working, have you had a chance? I know you like comic books. Have you had a chance to read anything recent?
What am I reading right now? X-Men.
Oh, the new ones. Yeah.
Jonathan Hickman is killing that book.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, it's the perfect thing for me, because I love like extra material. Like you even see, like The Last Age Chapter 1 has some what we call ancillary material, where, you know, there's some just information jotted down. Like I'm a nerd for that stuff. So, you know, like those extra pages in Watchmen, like I actually read that stuff, the newspaper clippings and all that, because what it does.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do, because it gets you into it makes it feel like you have artifacts from the world itself.
True.
And I just love that stuff. So like Hickman's X-Men is perfect for me, because I love that. Because
I just picked up volume 4 today.
Yeah, because he does like the charts, and you know. Anyway, I can go on with that.
So who are some of your influences?
Writing wise, I would have to say I really became interested in who writers were when I started reading Claremont's X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Because that was the first time I actually said, okay, who wrote this? This is so good. I need to find out who wrote it. And so at that point, I really started looking at writers. I'm a fan of Grant Morrison, because he's insane.
Yeah.
I love the way Jeff Johns puts together a script. And so I study, you know, a lot of that. As far as comics are concerned, there's just a lot of people. Artists, John Byrne, Jim Lee, Ken Lashley. Let's see. There's so many. There's so many. Like I can just whoever I'm looking at the time. You know, Joe Mad. There's so many that I have grown up over time. Like every so often, I just get obsessed with one person and just like really get into, you know, how they're putting together figures and things like that. Recently, I'm more into how is this artist solving problems on the page.
Okay.
How did they take that script and really break it down so they got, you know, so they can pull the reader through what's happening and you understand it. And so that's really what I've been into.
And that's sort of what you do as well. Like I definitely felt immersed in the world. Are you keeping that going with The Last Age as well? Like
yes, The Last Age actually is in the same world as the Sunstroms.
I was getting ready to ask that.
But the thing is, The Last Age is also further in the future than the Sunstroms is. And so there you will see some references to that. But the Sunstroms will continue because I'm about 6 pages into comic book on the Sunstroms #1. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, so you're not gonna do it in novel form? You're gonna go into comic book form?
Yep, because everywhere I go, people have enjoyed the book, but they always ask me when's the comic coming. So I think because of the art that they see at the table and the art that they see online, people really want to see that come alive.
Yeah, because you have such a unique art style. I have 2 of your paintings. I have a character from the Sunstroms, Critical Thinking or Thinking Critical. I forget
that's
how
the
it goes.
Critical Thinking one. That's Janisha Sunstrom. I did posters for the classroom that had different character traits, and so you got the Critical Thinking.
That's the one. And then I got Deadpool as well. That art style, is it inspired by somebody, or what did it evolve into that?
It is probably just a amalgamation of everybody that I enjoy, reading comics by. There's probably some Jim Lee in there. There's probably some Joe Mad in there. There's probably some of everything that has kind of inspired me as a kid, because I've always been a process nerd. You can turn on videos of how people do stuff, and I'll just sit there and watch it, and that really, kind of inspires me to want to do my own stuff. I'll read an interview by a comic book writer about how they created their book, and I'll just sit there, and my wife is like, "What are you reading?" Like I'm reading the interview, and that sounds crazy. Like, why is he sitting there reading the interview for this long? But it just really interests me to see how people go through their own creative process.
Yeah. I definitely like the art style because it's so different and unique, and the coloring too as well. Do you start off doing hand drawing first, or do you use a tablet? How's your method?
It depends. I probably always go to the tablet at some point. Normally there will be some drawing in my pad, and I'll do some hand drawing with pencils and maybe a few inks, and it'll end up getting put into Procreate. And I'll go in Procreate and actually draw on top of
Procreate the software?
Yeah, Procreate is a software on iPad, and I really got into that because that one has made my workflow just go a lot faster, which is what I was looking for, to really get my pages done. I think the Sunstroms #1 is going to take me a lot less time than the last age did, because of the flow of it. And once I do that, I normally send it over to my desktop, and I like the color there in what's the name of it? Sketchbook Pro. I do my colors there, and then I'll go to Photoshop and do some effects, and then I'll be ready to kind of letter my pages from there.
I was actually getting ready to ask, how do you do the shine effect? Because a lot of your characters, a lot of them have like this shine effect, and I never knew how does that go into? Is that through Photoshop?
Yeah, that's through Photoshop. There's a lot of different effects and filters on there, and just to get the look that's in my head when I see it, that's what I use.
Yeah, right there, that character. What's that character's name?
That's Lioness Spacefarer. She is the main character. She's the daughter of Messian Spacefarer who died during World War III. And what I've done in this story is I have made, since it's so far in the future, I've made World War III what World War II was for the characters that we grew up for. So the way that we know that Captain America fought in World War II, and there were all these amazing things that happened back in the 40s. World War III is that for these characters.
Okay, that's really cool. I like that a lot. So are you heading to any cons, or are you having another book signing?
The next thing I'm planning on doing, unless we have some more dates to come up in between, the next thing will be February 28th. Richmond Galaxy Con will be there.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to that one. I'm on a con hiatus.
Okay.
I'm picking and choosing which cons I go to, and I was hoping you would say like one in the area so I could be like, oh, I'm totally there, because I'm a big supporter of your characters. How important was it to have people of color in your stories?
Oh, that's very important. Just for the simple fact that kids need to see characters that look like them in leading roles, just for the simple fact they need to know that that's normal, that they don't have to be a sidekick or somebody who just lives down the street and is shown on camera for a little while. They can be the story, and people need to know that, and they need to see it, and it needs to just become normalized, so that everybody has a shot.
That's good. That's definitely good, because growing up, I didn't have anyone that looked like me, and then I discovered Storm, and I was like, oh my God, finally.
Right.
Like, that was a big thing. You said you have your posters in your classroom. How are the kids in your classroom responding to that?
And the other thing is, I find it interesting that a lot of kids, not just seeing characters of color, it's just that, okay, here's a man of color black man who draws comics and does things that I don't normally see black men do.
True.
And that's powerful for a lot of people, because there are a lot of kids that can draw, a lot of kids that, have skills and want to make up stories. I hear kids talking about anime all the time in my class, and they draw on the sides of their papers and the margins, and I don't say anything because I don't want to stunt that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they need to know that it's something you can do as a profession, something you can do as a career. And so their voices matter, and so I want them to know that and be able to see that.
That's good. Have any of the kids read the Sumstrongs?
I've had a few kids read it. A lot of times kids try to stay away from reading, so
True. Very true.
That's how I was growing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless if it wasn't comics, I wasn't doing it. But I've had some kids that are into reading chapter books, and they've enjoyed it.
Oh, that's good. That's good to have feedback like that. How difficult was it to go from a novel to a comic book? Was it a learning curve?
No, because on the low, I've been writing comics the whole time.
Oh, I'm learning new things.
Okay, all right. So in my notebooks, I have ideas for comics and series, and scripted 30 and 40 issues out. And so it's something I've been doing. I think maybe I probably was scared to get into it and think that and thought that maybe it wouldn't be good enough to be out there, but I got past that part, and so now we're doing it.
How do you get past that fear of like, oh my God, am I good enough? Oh my God, can I do this?
At some point, you just have to say, forget it and do it.
And because it's a passion and a dream, right?
Yeah, because if you don't do it, it'll never be done. And so I've just kind of taken the mindset that if I want it done, then I just have to go out here and do it.
Yeah, because if you don't start it and you don't do it, it's never going to happen.
Right, so and you'll never know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, as an artist, any type of artist, whether it's doing interviews or anything else, you're your own worst critic. You see all the mistakes. And a lot of times people see more in what you do than you see yourself.
That's true.
And so sometimes you just have to take yourself out of the equation and stop seeing all the mistakes and being a perfectionist and all that, and put your stuff out there and see what happens.
That's a wise man right there, like super smart. That's exactly true, because I am my biggest critic. And, you do have to kind of get past that, because if it's something you're passionate about, share it with the world.
Right.
So, so you said there's going to be 5 chapters of The Last Age?
Yes, 5 chapters of The Last Age, hopefully more, but her first story, Lioness Face, her first story is 5 issues. Okay. And so that will be a complete story at 5. Once we get to 5, then we'll make a decision about how to move forward.
Okay. Can I get an exclusive? What's the skinny on chapter 2?
Chapter 2, you are going to find out a little bit about.
I know, spoiler alert, because I'm always about the spoiler alert.
You're going to find out a little bit about why Lioness has some of the rough edges that she has, why she's as rough as she can be and seems to be as callous as she is, and you'll find out why that is, and you're gonna see some cool things, like there's like a fighting tournament that she gets involved in, or maybe she doesn't get involved in, but you'll see that. And so that's coming up in chapter 2. I can't say more than that.
Okay, that's all I needed. That's all I needed to hear. Got just a small little exclusive. Now, is she an only child, or is that like a hush hush thing as well?
That's hush hush. I'm not gonna talk about it.
All you need to know. Never mind. Next, on to the next question. On to the next one. So you're doing the book signing today in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Right.
what are the possibilities of another book signing?
I just talked to the library's director today, and she wants to have me back. So,
yay!
And so we're gonna work something out there, and we'll see about hitting some comic shops too.
Oh, that's definitely good. There's a couple in Raleigh and Greenville, I think, stuff like that. So we will keep all of you guys posted once you get me. So where can people find you and your wonderful comics and books?
Facebook, Instagram, under Sunstrom's Novel. But then you can go to sunstromsnovel.weebly.com, which is the main website, and you can order any of my books there, and that'll take you to a site where you can also buy any prints that we have here at the table.
Oh, you can buy the prints online too? Oh, okay. So what are the chances of merch, t-shirts, cups, mouse pad?
We've got shirts, and we're looking into cups now and some other things, but we're moving slowly on that, trying to see what moves.
Okay, once we get the mouse pad going, I would like one, please.
Okay, all right.
And you know how I like it? I like it all signed. Well, thank you, Gene, so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you taking the time from your signing to talk to little old me. We may or may not be friends. That's probably why. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe. Go follow Gene because he's amazing. I wouldn't steer you wrong when it comes to these kinds of things. Everything else I probably will, but not when it comes to great people like Gene. And as always, come by next Wednesday for the breakdown. I'll have something going on. I don't even know yet. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Bye, everyone.
Hey, it's Jack. In case you were wondering who was talking, we will be at the Charlotte MiniCon this Saturday. It's happening from 11 to 5, and we have a table there. We're going to be giving away a bunch of prizes. We're going to make sure that you can get a couple copies of our upcoming releases and our current release, which is the Young Robin Hood, with the author, of course, and our host, Jeff Messer. We hope to see you guys there at the Charlotte MiniCon. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, check us out Wednesdays at 6 o'clock for the breakdown.